This is what the physical structure of an older ACF tank looks like. And this is what a newer one looks like. Alright, let's take a look at this bad boy. So initially anyway, it looks very similar to this one. However, the things I want to draw attention to is this base plate. There's an ACF TM base plate. There is also an ACF TM horizontal turret. And there is an ACF TM vertical turret. There is also some dudes in here. Don't get excited. And of course the previous methods of building had similar sort of analogs, sans the crew. So we have a base plate that is just a prop base plate, turret ring that is a prop turret ring, and well, that's it. Otherwise the components are very similar. So you have fuel, ammunition, engines, transmissions. This is the required way to build a ACF tank in 2025. Whoops, 2026. I mean, it was in 2025 as well, but technically there are settings that vary server to server that determine whether or not you have to use the ACF entities. However, if you want to play ACF3, this is how you're building. You have to use an ACF base plate. You have to have all of your weapons going through some sort of drive, being aimed by some sort of drive, I should say, and you need crew. This method of building is basically obsolete is what I'm trying to say. Building an ACF3 tank has gotten quite a bit easier. So because everything is a component now that the devs have control over, they have added a very nifty component. This is the ACF all-in-one controller, or AIO controller. Big fan of this. Previously you had to use expression 2 or a bunch of gates in an unholy structure to fill the tank, or just know a guy who could help you. Now we don't need to touch any of that crap, so I guess we can run through it. Actually, I'm going to take a look at this one again. So you can see how this thing sort of links. So base plate's highlighted, that gearbox over there is highlighted, turret ring, vertical drive, and the gun should be highlighted, but looks like I forgot. So yes, ACF AIO controller. So you can see what all you can link it here in the instructions when you select it. So yep, seat, main gearbox, turret, gun. Racks basically mean missile racks, or missile tubes, base plates, whatever. On top of that, you don't have to link into everything, but let's try it out here. I'll just put it here. The positioning is kind of important, we'll just put it there for now. Alright, let's get linking. So I definitely want it to be to the base plate, the gun drives, and we'll do the gun as well. And which gearbox do I link this thing to? Well, it said main gearbox, so you can think of this as your CVTs, manuals, and automatics. Basically whatever gearbox you're going to be using to shift. And that's everything. So let's see what happens if I get in the tank. Alt E. And there you go. It just works. Not sure what's up with the gun though. Now the settings can be modified in the AIO controller. There's a method to do that. You right click or you hold C, right click on it, and go to edit properties, and there's a bunch of stuff here. So I'm talking about the camera. So I wonder if I can edit this while in the vehicle. Doesn't appear I can. So it looks like you have to be, or you can't edit it while it's in the vehicle. It won't update, but get out, edit it, get back in, and you can see the vertical position of the camera is changing. And this is what I mean with the positioning of the AIO is kind of important, because we want it to be in the center of the tank, which, whoops. Anyway, we'll just look at this one. So you can see I positioned this one in the center of the tank. This one isn't exploded. But the camera is positioned relative to this thing. So wherever you put it, that determines the offset that this thing is going to, the camera is going to be positioned at. And otherwise there's a ton of settings in here. So for tanks, the most notable one is going to be the brake strength. This affects just pressing space to stop, but it also affects steering. And it will take your manual transmission and convert it into an automatic. So given a physical structure of a tank, you can get something up and running very, very quickly. Pretty cool. Now remember, you aren't actually required to touch Expression 2, or I should say wire mod, or even Starfall for that matter. However, you are completely free to, because all of these components have input and output, and they can be controlled by E2, by gates, by Starfall, by whatever you want. So if you want to expand the functionality of your tank, well, knowing someone that knows how to code or having access to some publicly available chip, still not completely worthless, and yeah, something you can do to get specific behavior from your tank. I'm not sure how to put it into words. So in this example, I did basically just that, using a custom driving chip and also a custom heads-up display. However, you could totally mix and match functionality with your AIO. So I could disable the heads-up display if I just wanted to use a driving chip. And I could keep it there for link to my gearbox if I just wanted to use a heads-up display. However, in this case, it's completely gone. But yeah, here we go. An ACF3 tank running my driving chip and also my heads-up display. It does in fact work, so let's see. Sight's a bit jumpy. Yeah, you could totally make your own custom things to get special functionality, or just customize how your tank drives, things like that. I like this thing. It's pretty good. I wish it was around all those years when I sort of started playing ACF, but here's what it is. One thing I will say is, because if I mention ACF3, I kind of have to mention
Ace.
If you want to have a tank built that works on ACF3 and on Ace, no. The problem with that is you're gonna want to make sure you have like a special, like almost like translation unit, because ACF base plates, turret rings, and vertical drives will not spawn in Ace. They technically don't exist with that add-on installed, and when you spawn it, you're going to be very disappointed. Otherwise, long overdue video about the, well, entities, I guess touching on the entities in ACF3 that were added, as well as the AIO controller. Have fun, and see you around.